So let's talk about user context and actually define it and what it is. So you may have seen that from us in the past several weeks. We've been talking a lot about user context, otherwise known as business context. When we talk about users, we're talking about people, right? So actual humans. User context can be anything from username to, from its basic, most simplest form, that is, to manager information, to role information, responsibilities. But why we're different and the things we can offer in terms of user context for other security solutions, that we can provide fine-grained information regarding entitlements. So beyond what applications they have access to, we can tell you exactly what applications, but we can also tell you what the actual ability is for that person to do in that application in terms of entitlements. So that's where user context is actually a little bit special in this case. And of course, other things can be added to further define a person, to define a user, to understand who they are and what their behavior is, as far as job qualifications, certifications, and things like that. Relationship between IAM and SIEM, and it's kind of a symbiotic relationship here. It's kind of neat because there's, on the left-hand side here you see in this, we have some characteristics of SIEM. On the right side, we have some characteristics of IAM. They are very different in the sense of what problems they solve. But the combination of the two, or at least the relationship between the two, can be fairly powerful. So we can start at the top there and say, okay, SIEM knows about these events, but maybe not as much about the actual people or the users behind these events. So the events being, it could be firewall denies, could be, repeated login failures for a certain application, whatever it might be. They know about the events. But you look at the IAM side, the Identity and Access Management side, they know everything about the users, but zero right now about what's going on the event side. And we can take it down another notch here. So we look at events coming from different applications and user IDs that may actually lead to one person. Usually a SIEM doesn't know that. So they'll see different user IDs because this one person might be called one thing on one application, another thing on another application. It may be so fragmented that the SIEM can't pick up on that. But where IAM comes in is being able to harvest and correlate all these different identities from all these different applications across the enterprise back to one person. Steps in our eyes, at least, and how we see SIEM and IAM playing together. So the first step, which is all about today, so this first one on the left there, is what we call business insight for SIEM. And this is what we're talking about with business context, which is otherwise known as user context, to expose more information about actual users inside of the SIEM tool. And again, being able to map events to users, digging deep into identities and entitlements, and increasing threat management for SIEM. So that's what we're doing today, and that's what you're going to see in a minute from George. But also looking forward a little bit, and not that far forward, but looking into the next potential option for integrating IAM and SIEM is kind of pulling SIEM events into the IAM solution. So while you're actually looking at your users inside of the IAM solution, you can verify that, yeah, they've been accessing these applications, and that's appropriate and that's great. But you can also do the opposite and understand, whoa, they've been accessing these applications, doing these things, and they don't have the entitlement for that. They shouldn't be doing this, or possibly even detect segregation of duties violations through that to see that they may have multiple roles, and they shouldn't. So that brings a little bit more of a runtime feel to this, in the sense that it's happening now, and you can say, oh, that shouldn't be happening, and actually remediate that in the IAM solution.
We've got a kind of basic demo going here to show the two most important aspects of what this Phase 1 product is going to do. We're going to demonstrate it in the ArcSight platform, and what I have here is a ArcSight instance hosted by HP. It's set up to, as I said, demonstrate the most important aspects of what we're trying to do, which are correlate multiple records from different platforms and applications back to the same user, and then drill down and take a look at who that user is and what they can do, so we can make better decisions all the way through the life cycle of the event. After I'm done with that, I'll talk a little bit about some of the use cases that we have here on the left that are enabled by this particular solution. So we'll start with the before picture. Here we have a very limited active channel of unattributed events. So what's happening here is these are how events look without your IAM solution hooked up to ArcSight. So we can see here like some important things have happened, like say an audit log has been cleared. We have the attacker username, not particularly friendly. Down here we have like deleting a client from the database from Epic, say Epic Software, which is an application, healthcare application. Once again, we have an attacker username, a little unclear who that might be. Now, when this shows up in front of the SOC analyst, he knows, hey, this is Salesforce, this is Epic. I'll go into those applications, I'll send out some queries, I'll find out who this person is, we'll get to the bottom of this event. But it does, we're leaving the SIEM environment at this point and diving into the applications. It's, it's less than ideal. And also, we don't really know the user behind all of these different events, which might well be very important events. So this is our before picture. If we go to the after picture, here are the same events with our SIEM to IAM bridge enabled. So here we have exactly the same events, audit log cleared, the same attacker username, but now we can see that all 4 of these records track back to the same user. And what's happened here is that we've populated ArcSight with the information from the Avexa SIEM, so now we can see across all applications who the user is behind the event. And not only that, from this active channel, we can also see a little bit of information about her, like in this case, Lisa Colon. We can see that she's a controller. We can see that she works in finance. We can see that she works for our favorite, your company here. If we needed to send her an email, that information is right here, so we could contact her. So if they need to really drill down deeply, we can right-click on this user, and we can run an integration command and say we were interested in, like Lisa Colon's entitlements, all the stuff everything that she has that's been collected by Avexa, a really 360-degree view of the user. We can do this, and here from within ArcSight, we'll bring up the Avexa Web GUI, which has all the information about this user. So from here, we can see all of her entitlements that are collected. This is too much to populate into ArcSight, but we have them all here. So we can see that she has various entitlements to this Epic Healthcare application. She has various entitlements to this enterprise security application. We can see what her account is. We can, click on these information buttons to find out more about a particular entitlement.